generators ourselves, but what we can do is move things out of the way that they flow more readily.
So how do we jump over that hurdle now?
Well, now is a flexible term, and what we can do is, if you can identify a specific hurdle, like I have this regulation that slows me down for this particular component that I know exists, but I don't have access to it as readily as could be had. So let's identify the exact thing, not on this hot mic, but ASAP afterwards. And you identify the challenge. I look for, part of my job is, not falling off of ladders, but providing ladders for other people.
Add something to it. As far as the supply chain management system, we have a blueprint I actually share with you after the conference. There was actually a program that actually we created in the state of California in San Diego County. What happened was every step of the way, before we initiated this collaboration, we consulted with Department of Energy, with Ken's colleagues. And they took a trip with us to the region. So what was that about? We have to be very aware of what limitations we have, and then we communicate that to the Department of Energy and EDA and any other agencies actually helping us to get to the end results. What is that? In the tribal community in San Diego County, we had a very ambitious and very vast program we were pursuing. What was that? Transfer of technology, because we are going to make sure every piece of the technology we are fabricating, we're testing and assembling, that is sending to Department of Transportation or FAA or any other agencies that need the technology, to be done right here in the States. Now, here's that $60 million question. How in the world we're going to be able to actually get all these pieces done here in the States without dependency on, let's say, Taiwan? We brought that question to the Department of Energy. And this is how creative things got, by collaborating with different entities that could help us along the way to get this ambitious program off the ground. We actually got it approved that to get certain pieces, up to 30% of the total solution, to be imported from the country of Taiwan. And the made in USA product was basically the BMS and charging pile that is going to exceed the power of 480 kilowatt sitting on the charging pile for the electrification of transportation. And we got that in place through, believe it or not, collaborations of 4 or 5 different entities, companies that actually were local too. That is what I talked about at the beginning. We have to find a winning formula that is acceptable by the guidelines that actually the Department of Energy is set forth for us. And there are many ways to get this thing done, going through this list of to make sure that the end result is made in USA. And the education throughout the process, and checklist, security aspect, cybersecurity aspect, because they're part of these products actually are active. They have active components, PCBs, attached to it, right? In the PMS, power management system case. So those, we do the design, we do the production here in our own backyard. And the rest, gradually keep up with this transformation to make this tribal nation as an exporting hub with 100% of all components and all pieces to this technology to be done here. So it's a process, transitional process. You don't give up. Don't give up. We did not give up. And we actually had a very tight collaborations with the Department of State and also Department of Energy on this.
Awesome. Great question.
I'm going to go to Bai on that.
If you would like to respond, and then we'll go with you here, and then we'll come back to here. Go ahead.
Yes, mine isn't so much a response other than to say you will have hybrid models. For example, he's talking about tooling, the gentleman who was just speaking there, and what has changed in Africa lately since you mentioned the United States, Africa, and I would throw Japan in there. I'm all about capability versus political philosophy,
Yeah,
you know
I
what I
agree.
mean? Capability. And right now, for example, most of Europe's jet fuel, believe it or not, is coming from Dangote's refinery in Nigeria.
Really?
Yes. So all of a sudden, this has now triggered a new mindset in Africa where now they're like, okay, we're not exporting raw material anymore. You want to export, come build the refining right there. So these are opportunities for some real industrial dynamics. And I'm saying the United States can definitely lead that. They deserve to, given, went back to the history again. And the most critical minerals, are there in Africa.
Yeah. Well,
On the surface, it's not like Siberia under the ice or anything like that. I mean, so this is the real opportunity that there's this new thinking now that, hey, we better do that. And there's no better way to, as you say, checkmate China in Africa. That's the way to do it.
and he's
Boots
trying
on
to
the
lean.
ground.
He's trying to lean 42 African nations towards the United States and Europe, because there's freedom here. We're the powers of the West, in a sense. Powers of freedom, not the West, but the powers of democracy and freedom versus the power of totalitarian rule in China. And of course, you can't comment on that, but I, your humble co-embassy, can comment on it. But here's the point. The point is this means business for all of you. This is serious business, because to Kevin's point, think about what that means. 4 or 5 collaborators. When you have a relationship with people like Kent, a relationship is not transactional, there's trust. He is available, he's warm, he cares. That's a really neat thing. And when you have collaboration, negotiation isn't an issue. Negotiation is transactional. If you don't have a relationship, you're always negotiating. But if you have collaboration, it's aspirational, it's collaborative, it's positive, it's Deming management. It's what created the economic explosion in Japan after the 1950s. And I'm going to throw it back to you.
We're going to throw it back to the gentleman over here.
Yes, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Patrick Mensah from Southern University and HBCU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm here by way of Mr. Keith Moore, KDM, whom we have recently started a collaboration. And as we talk about collaborations and partnership, I also want to offer HBCUs such as Southern University as part of the possibilities. On our campus, recently with funding from the Department of War and also the National Science Foundation, we've established a $2 million additive manufacturing lab. It's a multi-material metal additive manufacturing with capabilities of designing new materials that can be used as a feedstock for 3D printing, and then also powder and wire DD printers. And so it's a challenge to also engage us here in the US as we talk about collaborating with those on the continent in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Is that
You want to take it?
Just one comment, yes. Just yesterday, you remember me saying that really the HBCUs are America's biggest asset
Yes.
to engage with Africa. Same language, same historical dynamic, and there's a lot that both sides will benefit from, you understand, to engage that. They are the biggest asset.
And the HBCUs have received very good support from the current administration.
You did say that.
They don't have to come and beg for money every year, and that's something the administration has extended some real support on. But I also think the Department of Energy, can you speak to the Department of Energy's position on HBCUs and STEM education and workforce training?
The whole point is filling the pipeline with persons who have tomorrow's capabilities.
Yep.
And so I would add to HBCUs, historic, tribal colleges, HSIs, all the higher education sources need to focus on tomorrow's employees, and those are what are going to help keep us in the AI forefront, are going to keep us with the critical material options so that we don't have to look for supplies or material, because we have more persons capable and current with what's needed now.
So thank you. But by the way, we have only 6 minutes till 10, and we got to be on time. What? Yes. No. We'll go to him. But if you can keep your question very brief, so we can have some closing comments, and then we're going to have to close because Michelle has a very important hard stop.
Yeah, we'll close with David, and then we'll turn it back over to you, Mark. We'll close.
Thank you.
I just want to make the comment that I'm grateful, my Lord and Savior, for these gentlemen up here today. And if you see the diversity, it says when you pray, you're talking to God. And when you read scripture, he's hearing your voice, he's talking to you. And I know these men of different walks of faith are up here on this stage. And I want to thank this conference for what it's doing for God's people and his kingdom, because the word energy, what we all give off in life, is a powerful mechanism to all of us to give our gifts and talents. And I was in Africa, so it was going to be for a week, but I stayed a month. And my question to you, sir, is, as you talked about the growth of Africa and its impact on the world stage, I saw the beautiful heart of the African people and how we can guard against the Chinese absolute invasion of that continent, trying to get into, to take over, whether it's AI or other energy sectors, how we can as a country and a people help your people make sure that the freedom and the gifts and talents of your people are guarded against the attacks of the enemy that would take place in that energy sector.
Well, as Mark was saying, I do have this framework that I've been working on since 2004. It's a capability model with a very specific training agenda and so forth. And the comment I made, somebody said, okay, you're not going to get the Chinese out of Africa. There was a reason that made them come there. You will find sympathy there. But what you can do and should do is bring the capability to the continent. And the combination of the United States, Japan, and Africa is something. As a nuclear engineer, I can see there will never been such a powerful dynamic with those three technologically tied up.
Thank you to this conference for what you guys have done for this. It's been a magnificent conference. Took an energy company public with some other gentlemen. It's been an absolute powerful experience being here. So thank you to all the organizers that put this together. I'm very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the other gentleman as well that asked the question. I'm gonna turn it back over to Mark. Hasn't this been great? Get the inside round of applause for our guest.
I wanted to give a chance for you, Kent, to give your closing thoughts. And the one thing we didn't touch on was workforce training. If you could sort of integrate that in, and if you have any thoughts on that, or mining, minerals, etc., in your closing statements. And then I'm going to thank Constellation Energy again for graciously sponsoring the Hubzone event this morning. And I'm going to give you a quick update of what's happening ahead and the teaming stuff. I'm going to mention that, and I want to say something nice about the teaming, because that's where you get together in these little groups and get to meet people and do business and generate economic activity, meet people, collaborate, like what Kevin was talking about. I said it again, Kevon, sorry. That's going to come up. I'm going to mention that, but go ahead, Kent. Let's express your passion.
Workforce training is a perfect example of that. Is a connection just signed yesterday between the U.S. Department of Labor and the U.S. Department of Energy, focusing on ensuring that the extraction industry, mining trades, have the focus of DOL as far as worker safety, as far as worker training. And this is where the federal government wants, in its coordinated efforts takes this, the Department of Energy focuses on accessible energy. The Department of Labor focuses on accessible skill sets. The Department of Commerce focuses on making sure that there's connection between the needs and the givers. And what we have here with the Department of Energy and the DOL's example with critical materials is a highly convenient signature yesterday of having at the highest levels, the administration is having the federal agencies focus on, for example, what Chris Wright, the Secretary of Energy, had said. He wants to make sure that America's power is created by American jobs.
Good. No, I love that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Final. Then what I want to say, just 1 minute, Kevin. I'm sorry, Kevon. Can I change your name to Kevin? Just sure, because we're friends. That way I won't feel like an idiot.
No problem.
So closing thoughts in 1 minute or less.
Collaboration, training system that actually needs to be in place in order to for us successfully transform communities, Hubzone communities, tribal nations, that is our focus, to be turned into exporting hub, to export our fine technologies made in the U.S. technologies to the everywhere else in the world. And that really comes from within the community we walk into. As I said, in California, we got in touch with, they contacted us. University of California system in San Diego branch contacted us. UNLV contacted us. Arizona State University contacted us. Said, hey, if you guys need anything that to actually get your training system in place in the proper way, let us know. And because we reached out indirectly with them, and then collaboration between us and what programs were available through Department of Energy made it possible. We could have an easy way to actually explain to all these universities what the end goal is, and workforce training must be part of it. To transform the Hubzone community to a very meaningful, made in the USA technology for the global, deployment.
So 30 seconds closing, because I have to zip this up to be on time.
Absolutely.
That's my hosting obligation.
Well, first of all, thank you all for having us on this panel. Thank you. And thank you, sir, as well. Yes, training is the number one thing right now in the age of AI, and we've got the kind of tools that can really accelerate that training. And that's what we need all around.
So let me zip it up real quick and give you a little preview of what comes next. First of all, I want to thank Constellation Energy for sponsoring this and bringing it to you and making it possible. Give them a hand of applause. As you know, Constellation Energy is the nation's largest producer of carbon-free energy and a critical partner in powering federal facilities, national security infrastructure, and American manufacturing. We're very honored to have these leaders here today, and they came here with an open hand and an open heart. And please feel free to communicate with all of you after this. Especially Kent, the warm welcome that he gave to a group of us the other day. Yeah. And the graciousness that I've seen is really inspiring. It makes me really believe in government in a way that, because I'm very private sector, right? But here's a man with a private sector heart bridging into the public sector. And they'll be available to you. Okay, so after this panel, remember couple things. If you're participating in the AI-powered business marketing matchmaking this afternoon, that's 2 to 4. Make sure you check in with the Matchmaking 360 room. I'm doing the part Michelle would normally do.